The Duke of Gloucester brings out an album of photographs to show his family. Their date is 1934, their subject His Royal Highness' previous tour of Australia. Both the Duchess and Prince William have seen these pictures before, but now, with the Duke so soon to take up his appointment as Governor-General, the album naturally has a new interest. Still pictures spring to life in the Duke's memory. There was the landing in Fremantle. There was the journey across the desert. The halt to see the Aborigines, who staged a special corroboree for the royal visitor. Adelaide, typical of Australia's great modern cities. Sydney, and a parade of Australia's Victoria Cross winners. Canberra, federal capital of the Commonwealth of Australia. Only the pictures and not the scenes themselves are as yet familiar to the Duchess, but she's as interested as her husband in the prospect of his return. For now, his family will accompany him. It was after the Duke returned from his tour that he married Lady Alice Scott, as she then was. The wedding took place in Jubilee year, and it was one of the series of great royal occasions in the 30s, which culminated in the coronation. It was also one of the last times when King George V appeared on the balcony of Buckingham Palace. The Duke and Duchess spent their honeymoon in England. Both of them are keen riders, and they spent much of it on horseback in those Midland shires where they later made their home. Here at Barnwell Manor, Northamptonshire, the Duke took up his residence when he gave up his military career to help the King in the discharge of some of the responsibilities of royalty. Prince William is nearly 3 years old, a sturdy fellow with decided views of his own as to what he likes and doesn't like. Since these pictures were taken, a brother has come along to join him. In the Duke's open-air swimming bath, a small model of the Queen Mary is adrift, and the Duchess and the Duke help their son to salve her. This leads to a new effort at launching. If there's one thing Prince William does like, it's a switchback railway. The Duchess looks after him herself as much as her engagements allow, and a sensible Scots nanny takes over when she's busy. The family wanders off to the farm buildings. The Duke has always shared Australia's interest in stock breeding, and he's himself an active and practical farmer. Ferdinand, the prize Guernsey bull, however, is well on the way to becoming a family pet. At Barnwell Manor, the Duke has set out to improve the land and increase its productivity. This has been Britain's problem during the war. By ploughing up orchards and pasture land, the old country has contrived to supply 2/3 of her food needs. The pigs bred on the estate are always a source of solemn delight to Prince William. The Duchess of Gloucester's interests are many. but high among them is the Women's Auxiliary Air Force, of which she is Commandant. Australia will undoubtedly give her fresh scope for an energetic nature. The Duchess has also shown personal care for the welfare of prisoners of war and the services rendered them by the Red Cross and St. John organisation. This is another of the interests that the Duchess shares with her husband, who from the beginning of the war has worked hard for the Red Cross. He's president of the Duke of Gloucester's fund, which has raised over £10 million for the Red Cross, a large proportion of it in Australia. Presiding at the annual meeting, he reports the progress of the fund and thanks the subscribers. Maintaining his ties with Australia, the Duke visits an RAAF Spitfire squadron in England. These are the men who stood by Britain in her darkest hours and who are now operating with the liberating armies in Europe. But it is primarily as a soldier that the Duke of Gloucester would surely wish to be regarded. This was his chosen career. When the war came, he went out with the British Expeditionary Force to France as a member of Lord Gort's staff. He was under fire and was slightly wounded in the hand. The Duke of Kent's death cut short his hopes of seeing active service again on any of the war fronts. More and more, the job of representing the King fell upon him at times and places when His Majesty could not be present. In this capacity, he made a tour of the Middle East, Ceylon, India. But he's kept his close connection with the army, and he's still Colonel of the Australian Light Horse, among other associations with Australian regiments. In peacetime, there are few more impressive military ceremonies than trooping the colour. Here, the Duke of Gloucester is taking the salute as deputy for his brother. And if such ceremony seems incongruous to the wartime mind, it should be remembered how, again and again on the battlefield, the well-drilled soldier has proved the worth of discipline and his own fighting quality. The British Empire blends old with new as the years roll on, the traditional drill with the newest battlecraft. The old country marches with the vigorous young Dominion. So the welcome which Australia will give to the new Governor-General will not be based only on previous acquaintance. A great source of satisfaction will be the closer, more personal contact between the Dominions and the throne, the only tangible link in the light, strong, enduring bonds of empire. The King sends his brother, and the honour of the appointment is shared equally by the Duke and the country in which he will live. This upstanding young man is an ambassador on his own. Well, maybe upstanding is hardly the word. Twice in the lifetime of the Duke and his charming Duchess, the old country from which they come and the vigorous new land to which they go have stood shoulder to shoulder in war. The ties between them have been strengthened. Let us wish the newcomers good luck and happiness, and above all, peace.